Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston from Our Blooming Catholic Life, and it's another Wednesday, so I'm back to talk to you a little bit about the environment and nature and our resources, but in combining it with more of my Friday theme of theology. So what's going on? I have a backyard. I think all of us do, and especially this time of Corona, I want to be able to enjoy it a little bit more, expand our space that we have to use because, you're getting a little cooped up, going a little crazy. And the back portion of our yard, when we had it fenced in, a little snafu happened that the fencing company fenced in about 15 more feet than they were supposed to. And so they actually fenced in woods. What's the big deal there? Well, there was a lot of invasive plants in the woods. There's no grass back there. It's not really yard material. And as well, it's got some fill dirt. When the house next to us was built, they used a lot of fill dirt from the building of a highway to fill in and regrade their land. What does that mean for us? There's a lot of trash out there. I'll be honest, we get out as much as we can when we see it, but there's always new broken glass or odd bits of even electronics just randomly showing up. I don't know if people before us that had this house maybe dumped in the woods, and that's part of the problem. But so I need to reclaim that land. And it brought to mind my nephew and his wife, their project, the sustaining tree. And one of their problems in meeting the standards that they want to meet, one of the petals, if you will, was about improving the land on which you're on. And they were kind of struggling with that because the land that they're going to build on is actually virgin forest, and how to make that better. In mine, this was once upon a time a farm. So having the woodland is probably improving it. It's only a little strip of woodland back there. And then, the fenced in yard. So how can I make it better? Well, one thing I can do right away is mine has invasives. Things like multiflora rose are back there, as well as non-native plants like forsythia. And I can see the one tree has a huge vine of poison ivy on it. So I can probably make it better by trying to get those out. Now, multiflora rose, if you know anything about it, is not just invasive, it's near impossible to get rid of. So I could do the simple thing here, right? I could ignore it, let it go. I could maybe move the fence. I could give up on that section of the yard. I could plant something more like forsythia bush that's just going to block my view of that plant I don't like. But how am I going to make it better? And I found it really interesting when I looked up the definitions for the word simple, that it actually originated in the 16th century English, meaning a medicine compounded of one medicinal plant. There was only one. It wasn't compound, it was simple, which is more the way you use those words in chemistry. So I found it really interesting because I don't think of it that way when I'm doing my Bible readings, right? Douay-Rheims version of the Bible, the word simple comes up in Job a lot. In the Ignatius Bible, the RSV CE2, it only comes up in Job once. But in Job, it talks about Job being simple and upright, fearing God and avoiding evil. And I think in this regard, it means simple. He's pure. He's of one thing, and that thing is pure. Not the simple as in the opposite of wise or prudent. And that double meaning of the word, right? Is it someone who is foolish? Is it someone who is a little one in regards to they're so little they're like a child, they don't know what's good and bad. And yet Jesus says, let the little ones come to me. And what does that mean? Because I think children do kind of intrinsically do know what is good and bad. They are pure. They're of one thing. So it's just give me so much to think of. So yeah, it comes up a lot in Job's. In Proverbs, it's more prudent versus simple. So in that case, prudent is someone who judges. So I'm judging the plants out there. I could be simple and say, hey, they're plants. They're contributing to the oxygen, right? They're doing good things out there. Plants are all good. But that's not very prudent of me, is it? And the plants out there aren't all good. Multiflora rose, besides being invasive, and it would take over the yard if I let it, it has upside down thorns, and you really can't walk by it or do anything without getting caught in it and really ripped up. Those downward facing thorns are quite nasty. And so it's not prudent to leave it there. It's not good for me, and it's going to end up in the neighbor's yards, which isn't going to be good. It's going to make their yards unusable as well. And so in this case, I do need to be wise, and I can't just hack at it, because I do happen to know that multiflora rose, if you just hack at it, it's going to come back right away. The last research I heard was that you had to completely dig up the plant to get it out. And then last I heard as well, you had to put it in like these heavy black plastic trash bags, because otherwise it's going to start sprouting in the landfill and in any compost that you may try and put it in. And so you have to be very prudent. So first thing I did is I know some park rangers and naturalists, and I reached out to them to find out the current best practices in science for taking care of that particular invasive. I haven't heard back yet. When I do, I will share it with you. But I'm being prudent. I'm not just going out there and hacking at it away at it. I'm also being prudent in ways that I reached out to the sustaining tree about this issue. And let me see if I can get my phone to work here. They gave me some handy dandy tips. So one thing they are using, I can't find it. It was called something like a land plan. And so it was actually a website where you would plan out your woods. You would be able to be in a forum with people in your area who had, similar plants and soil and everything, and they could give you some tips. And you could really make wise and prudent plans for your little mountaintop yard or your wooded backyard. And it also encourages people to turn their grass yard, right, into a more natural wooded yard. And you could have maybe a sort of a grassland. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to be smart about it. Don't just plant grass because it's grass. Grass doesn't make it good. Green doesn't make everything good, folks. And so one of the things I was looking at was a program I actually found from my local extension co-op, and this is called The Woods in Your Backyard. And there's actually an online course and a workshop and teaching how to be like a steward. And this is specific for me in Maryland, but I think it's a national program. Again, it's called The Woods in Your Backyard. And it is a little curriculum just to help you learn about how to manage your woods, no matter how big or small it is. What is the best way? We know, especially out west, you need to be prudent. While it's lovely to have a wooded backyard and you're giving back to nature and building habitat, but you don't necessarily want that woods going straight up to your house. You would want some sort of a fire break, right? You wouldn't want the leaves all falling and leaving them all that dry tinder next to your house. As well, you're going to have to clear out some dead trees. And then do you want to clear out all the dead trees, or do you want to leave some about 6 foot tall for woodpeckers and other critters who like to live and eat out of dead trees? So there's a lot to think about. Having woods or just loving the environment isn't something that's simple. You do need to be prudent about it. And I would say you need to be pure in your motives. So that version of the word simple is good, because you need to be pure in your motives. What is it that you're looking for? Are you looking for, and I don't know exactly the site, maybe I can find it another way. The other site that was given to me last night to help you plan it. What is it that you want out of your backyard? Yes, this was called My Land Plan. So it's mylandplan.org. And it's, what do you want out of your yard? Do you want it as a space like for kids to go play in? Do you want to have some gardening? Do you want to focus on native plants? Are you restoring habitat for a particular animal? So it has you look at your motives so that you do have that purity of focus before you go into it. So it's kind of funny because you're both being simple and being prudent. You are being single-minded when you go out, as well as doing your research and due diligence. And so what I'm trying to ask you today is to think about, yes, we want to simplify our lives, but let's not just go crazy into it. For example, this wool dress that I'm trying to wear for 100 days, whether or not I succeed, it is 75% wool. It's merino wool. I did a lot of research. I read a lot of reviews. They have a number of different dresses, so I had to choose one that I felt was more modest. And the one I chose surprised people. Now, this one is a midi dress, so it's fairly long, but you can see, whoops, it's sleeveless. And why I chose it is I thought it would give me more variety. I can actually put clothes underneath it, like tank tops and t-shirts, even a long sleeve plain shirt. And then it looks more like a jumper and very super modest. Today I have this zipped up hooded sweatshirt over it because I'm probably going to go out and do yard work. And I can actually dress it up with scarves and whatnot, and just being sleeveless, it's just one less layer. I thought it was going to work, and I probably will never wear it just simply by itself. I'm using it as a piece of a wardrobe. As well, I knew going in to do yard work, like, is it sturdy enough? I didn't try yard work in it right away. I'm not that silly. And I do know that different dresses work different ways. When I go out in a couple of days and I'm going to try and use the weed whacker out there, if I do wear the dress, I am going to wear a denim dress layer over it, just for safety. I would wear long socks. I would also wear my cowgirl boots. I want to be safe. I would also wear some sort of a shirt jack, because when you use a weed whacker, things fly back up at you. And so I'm not being silly. I've also found out that this dress is pretty sturdy. I've been playing with dogs while wearing it, and it is not ripped. And even though it's a pretty thin fabric, I've been impressed that it hasn't ripped. And that's why I felt a little confident going out there. And honestly, I was mostly raking yesterday, and the weed whacker lies ahead. I'm raking out the area, trying to see what the land's like, cleaning out a bunch of that broken glass, and making my plans right now. But I needed to know that this dress was going to stand up if I got caught tangled up in the multiflora rose. And it did yesterday. I tested it out first on other things around the house. You know, I've been wearing it for almost 2 weeks, playing with the dogs, whatnot, doing housework. And I knew that it could stand up to it before I went out and wore it. So I think I was being prudent. So it's such a complex thing to be simple. You do want to be simple, but you don't want to be simple to the point of foolishness. But then you hear St. Francis, and he was foolish for God. And I think that's a different thing, taking those risks, right? Because he lived complete simplicity, no care for his clothing at all. I am going to care for my clothing a little bit. I'm not completely foolish like St. Francis. This dress did cost us some money. I didn't just trade a peasant on the street for it. So, you know, I'm not perfect yet. Maybe one day I will be, but I do have a family. That's one of the things about being the Third Order Franciscan, is that we call ourselves secular Franciscans because we do live in the world. We would love to be fools for Christ sometimes, but we do have to remember we have a family and responsibilities. And so we make some concessions, and one of those is to maybe not be completely careless of our clothes. Now, I'm not going to go out there in a sequin dress and be like, oh, it's ripped, whatever. You know, I'm not that kind of foolish. I am prudent. I'm not going to be complete fool. I'm going to be simple but prudent. That's my goal. I don't know. If you've got advice for me, go ahead and shoot it below. God bless you, friends. The community here is getting larger, and please, yes, put your comments below, share with others your resources that you know about. Somebody was asking me good places for modest clothes for women, and so I was trying to put them below. It is hard. There can be modest clothes for young women, and it's harder to find them. I'm almost 50, and it's hard to find clothes that I think work for me. So if you've got those resources, friends, put them in the comments below. So if you've got other resources on land management and great ways to learn about plants and how to take care of them and be a more thoughtful steward of the land, please put your comments below. And as usual, if you've gotten anything out of this video, like, share, and subscribe. God bless you, friends.